Welcome, welcome, welcome to a very special session of Philly by Night. Tonight is our Seneschal's board mission, A New Line of Blood. Let's take a moment and welcome our selected players for the evening and get started. So, Kindred of Philadelphia, the three of you have answered the call from our enigmatic Seneschal. There is a group of independent ghouls in town. Your job is to make contact, assess for any threats, and perhaps deal with the mess left by the previous regime. How you deal with that mess is entirely up to you. You have each been informed that you will gather this evening at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. As each of you have completed your various hunting for the evening, you arrive at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, the golden lights casting long rays up the Grecian columns of what almost resemble some sort of sun god temple. As you enter, you are greeted by a face that some of you may find familiar. Miss Wayne, prim and proper as ever, stands smiling, folders in hand. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Miss Wing.
Hi, Miss Wang.
I have
How are
some.
you doing?
I have some papers for each of you. Standard mission brief. Mix LeClaire, you should already know the drill by now. There is, within these papers, there are brief write-ups of some of the known individuals in this group and associated pictures. They're grainy, clearly taken from a distance with telephoto lens. Older camera. Colin, you would know just from looking at these that this is like a 90s telephoto, likely a older Nikon SLR.
Someone wanted to do stuff without any chips whatsoever.
Correct. Someone wanted to make sure that there was no chance of this information becoming digitized and finding its way out into the clear net. One of the areas where they are most likely to congregate is near the Elfrith's Alley Museum. It is a location in Old City known for its colonial style buildings. It's also known for not having a lot of foot traffic after dark. Very easy to know who's coming, who's going. The streets are narrow, almost alleys themselves. I will. Miss Wayne smiles. I'll be your driver for the evening. The prince has already arranged for suitable transportation. If you would please join me. And she turns smartly on her red heels and begins to click deeper through the art museum, leading you all to the familiar parking garage. As you all mount up in the well-appointed SUV, I will allow you to chat amongst yourselves while we drive over to Elfris Alley.
Well,
Well, go ahead, sir.
Colin is going over the files. He's engrossed in them for the moment, checking how many people he needs that they know of to start with. He's also looking if the files have any information on Elfris Alley Museum and the colonial area, if there's any photos overhead, or even a map. Oh, I know what he'd do. He would have a old purchasable map like you could get from a Walmart of the city of Philadelphia, and he'd be cross-referencing and starting to familiarize himself with the colonial era town that he's going to within Philadelphia. So he's going to be looking at streets, he's going to be checking distances, comparing them to how normal thoroughfares are since he doesn't go to this area. He's going to start figuring out sight lines and the first and second most probable places spotters would be. He is in a normal, for him, atypical, more dressed down undershirt and t-shirt. A few holes in it, looks like it's thrifted. A jacket, utility pants, and probably passed down 511s, a belt, and some work boots. You're muted, boss.
You're muted, Einer.
And if you give me just 1 second, I will have that picture up and ready for you in just 2 shakes. But in the meantime, the drive is relatively uneventful. Though, everyone, go ahead and give me a wits and insight, please.
Cool. Body language specialty coming to play?
Yes.
Oh, goody. Thanks. I don't know if I should like that or not, but here we go. There it is. Box of Doom.
Hmm.
Oh god. Screw it. Willpower.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, buddy.
I mean, 7 successes with a messy critical, but I don't think we want it this early, so I will spend a point of willpower to work on fixing it.
Okay.
Okay, so just down to 3 successes.
Okay. Well, given the amount of time that you had spent with Miss Wayne during the war, it's a little bit easier for you to see what's going on. She is on edge. You can tell even our 1 success folks can tell that every once in a while she keeps taking a hand off the wheel and placing it inside of her jacket before putting her hand back on the wheel, as though she's checking to make sure something is in place in her inside of her jacket. The events of the last few nights have clearly taken its toll on your prince's retainer. After all, she is just a mortal.
Yeah. Seeing this, Cyrene will just very, like, making sure it's visible in the rearview mirror. The others would see that they are dressed in, like, kind of black business pants with kind of a lacier button up top, a very kind of almost stylized vest with a leather jacket embroidered with flowers over it, kind of looking a little more street punkish, but still mostly academic professional, with kind of various occulty symbols and star motifs and stuff, and just pat Miss Wayne's shoulder. It's gonna be all right. We got this.
As the car glides along North 2nd Street, it stops at the corner of North 2nd and Quarry, just outside of Fireman's Hall Museum. Miss Wayne says that she will wait here for you and keep the engine running, but that it's best if you proceed on foot at this point. Unfortunately, there are a lot of places in the Elfris Alley Museum area that this SUV just cannot go.
Understood. I don't believe I've met the two of you. Introductions are probably in order. Colin Fry. I don't recognize either of you, and I suppose you could say some of my specialty lies in being quiet and being able to get to places and surveil others. I am an investigator by trade. I have some advantages when it comes to self-defense, but I would prefer not to get in anything regarding whatsoever a stand-up or fair fight in the slightest. My best engagement would be somewhere from 100 meters away at minimum and with surprise.
Okay. You got the firepower to back up that 100 meters away?
Currently, no. Not unless I get very lucky
Okay.
with what's in my belt currently.
That's all good.
Try more like
Well-
30.
Well, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm a doctor, cosmetic surgeon by trade. Um, but I'm just here to help in any way that I possibly can. And Dr. Beck is wearing tweed pants, brown tweed pants, brown Oxford shoes, a linen shirt, spectacles, and carrying a leather bag as well with a flat cap on.
What do you two go by?
I was going to ask if they wanted to, be called Doctor Who.
If you would like, I don't mind. You can call me Doc. You can call me Beck. You can call me Dr. Beck or Dr. Abaca. Whatever you desire.
Okay. Well, I know how long it takes to get a doctor, doctorship, so Dr. Beck or Dr. Abaca, if that's best for you. Right. Introductions. I'm sure you already heard my last name, so I'm Cyrene LeClaire. You spent time in this city, probably oh, it's not important anyways. But yeah, my specialties are reading people and spooky shit. I'd prefer not to fight, but if we have to, let's at least try and get out. But I have a feeling both the Seneschal and the Prince would like us to, handle this as diplomatically as possible, given how hard we all worked to get the city under control from the last management.
You are Mix Leclerc? I may have gotten a business card from one of your associates recently.
That, not to sound rude, but I hope you realize how little that narrows that down.
I don't. I'm new to Philadelphia. A very cheerful, very polite, very tall individual of the same clan as I.
Tilt's head.
Works in the
Ro?
evenings. That also doesn't narrow it down either. Hangs out with. Can't use that name. Don't know him that well yet. Oh,
Hangs
6'2",
out
blonde, very cheerful.
Oh, Sephra, delightful.
Yes.
Lovely girl.
If all goes well, hopefully I will be able to patronage your services later. You were recommended.
I was?
Again, I don't know how many business cards you have. I was talking about the private consultations in matters of faith and personal well-being.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, that whole therapy office business. Yep, that's me.
What's that? Awesome. So 2 doctors and me. All right.
Oh no, just a master's degree. I was in residency before this all happened and never quite finished.
More than me. All right, so residency instead of a PsyD. Good to know.
Anyways, I've got, and she'll kind of hold up the backpack. If needed, there's extra knives in here and a pistol, but really, hopefully it shouldn't come to that.
Don't know how to use that. Would prefer to resolve things without violence in terms of the knives. All right. Do we have a game plan?
Well, I have a feeling they probably have spotters looking out this way, so they probably already know we're here. So, walk calmly. Keep an eye open for any sort of wards or traps. Last regime really liked to mess with all that kind of stuff and teach it to anybody who had a bare inkling and aptitude. So, keep your eyes open and talk less, smile more, and remember hospitality is the plan.
I will attempt. I think that smiling is not one of my weak points. I will leave that to you two. I can definitely talk less, though. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth. I'll try and use that in proportion.
As you all... Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, Siren's just gonna chuckle. If I learned anything in the wards, everybody's voice is important. It's just sometimes you gotta learn how to say a sentence properly sometimes.
Sometimes less is, in fact, more. As you all dismount the SUV and make your way through some of the tighter alleys here in this part of the city, you would notice the bright red colonial style doors and shutters that seem to jump out off of the reddish brown brick facades of the buildings. All of the windows have that characteristic wave to them that tells you that this is still leaded crystal glass that has dripped with age. After all, some of these windows are 250 years old or older. Cyrene, do you have Sense the Unseen popped?
Going on missions and especially after. God damn it, Siri.
Out of pocket, this one.
Right. I would say, given the fact that Cyrene was attacked by whoever those people are wielding those special darts, and we're going to visit ghouls that were created during the last regime, it has been popped since she got in the car.
Boss,
Yes, sir?
after I heard occult shenaniganry, I would have had it popped. Set first thought.
Excellent. Yep. So, as you move along, Cyrene, Colin, please give me a wits and awareness check.
What's awareness?
You may add your auspex because you have Sense the Unseen popped.
Oh boy. This gonna be a big dice pool for Elmo.
Good.
So that's 5 plus 4 is 9 plus the 2 bonuses from powers and feeding.
Respectable. There it
And 8
is.
successes with the crit.
8 successes with a critical. Mix LeClaire, you have been spending your off hours studying through the books that Rowan has on offer, dealing with kindred iconography. Also, given your clan of origin, you are familiar with some of the more cryptic scrawlings that would be indicative of your clan. I am going to start with what our 3 successes sees. You do not see anything that would scream ward. Though, to be fair, with your occult knowledge, you likely wouldn't spot some of the sneakier wards, but nothing's jumping out at you. You don't see anyone obfuscated. For all intents and purposes, this part of the city is quiet. It is the same kind of quiet that you would see at 10 p.m. in any major city. Cyrene, you see what look to be several almost wayfinder-like symbols, the same you saw in the chantry.
Okay.
They
go ahead.
appear to be pointing towards Bladden's Court at the far end of Elfrith's Alley near North Front Street.
Okay.
However, what you see next is not hidden by powers of the blood. You notice above the door of one of the bright red doors is what looks to be a 3-sided square with a single line standing up in the center. You would immediately recognize that from your time during the war. This is a hobo sign. That hobo sign means this is the place.
Okay. So Saren's just kind of looking at all that. Because she's been in the chantry, we can infer the wayfinders are to probably another bolt hole or something of Lynch's. So she's going to make a note of that, because while they want to go investigate, that's not what the mission is. We're here to negotiate and talk with these ghouls, and that the hobo sign is probably gesturing to their sanctuary at this point, like their haven area.
It's a very good possibility.
If I'm reading this right. Okay. All right. She's just gonna let out a low whistle, because and recall Arwen, because Arwen was sniffing at something to make sure that he's by her side. And you guys would see a large American Alaskan, almost direwolf size dog standing next to Cyrene with a mobility harness, and she's going to point it out the hobo sign. Pretty sure that means they're home.
One thing I would mention, now that I realize that at least Cyrene has sense the unseen. I don't know how well this would show up, but with 8 successes and also them having sense the unseen period, Kate's hanging around Colin, and I do want to make that a point in case mortals might have, or ghouls might have sense the unseen too.
That is right. 8 successes with a critical. You would see what appears to be not a full-bodied apparition, but certainly a free-floating vapor. Just bobbing alongside at about shoulder level with Colin, almost like someone is walking beside him.
Okay. Kind of like Lanka's little friend from last season that she picked up when we fought Angel.
This is definitely far more developed, far more formed than Lenka's friend.
Okay.
Lenka's friend was more of a mote of light. This is more of a torso-sized, shimmering vapor cloud.
Okay. She just kind of tilts her head and looks at Colin and raises an eyebrow and subtly kind of gestures to his shoulder. She's trying to ask without asking aloud if he knows.
If Colin can read that and pick up on it because he's keeping his head on a swivel, he probably realizes, oh, okay, she's been made. A friend of mine. They're on our side. They're on my side.
All right. Heard a stranger, Bedfellows. Just making sure you knew.
Thank you. Keep an eye out for me as well. I'll try and do the same for you.
Yep. Well,
So
I don't see anything that's gonna,
no, go ahead.
Oh, Saren's just gonna point out that she doesn't see any wards that are gonna immediately bite us or anything, but just keep having your head on a swivel and walk towards where the door is.
Yep, I haven't caught anything either.
So
He
do we
follows.
just go and knock? I can knock.
As you approach the door with the hobo sign above it, 8 successes with a crit, you hear what almost sounds like bird calls, which is strange because the birds that would make those sounds are not typically active at night. You know this because those birds are common not just here in Philadelphia, but in coal country. You grew up listening to their songs during the day. What would you like to do with that information?
She'll stop because I'm assuming we're all kind of in like little triangle formation and kind of lean back. I'm pretty sure that we've been made and they're calling out to each other, but Dr. Beck, if you want to knock and, we can start making introductions and keep it as diplomatic as possible. We are at their home after all, so I'd rather not,
Yeah, no, my
start breaking
pleasure.
things.
As you knock on the door, the whistles suddenly stop. What comes next is almost a bone-chilling silence. A long, pregnant pause before you hear the slow creaking of a door. Not in front of you, not the door you knocked on, but the wooden Bilko doors beside you, painted that same bright red. The angled door creeps up just enough for a pair of eyes to look out. You hear a young woman, just barely above a whisper. State your business.
Well, ma'am, we're here to introduce ourselves and make y'all's acquaintance.
We're not exactly in the market for new friends, especially not leeches.
Well, I do apologize. I was asked to come here as well as these two compatriots of mine and just introduce ourselves and whatnot. Make sure everything's simpatico here.
Dr. Beck, go ahead and give me a charisma and etiquette roll, please.
Got you.
Can I give an assistance die because I have a dot in etiquette?
Storyteller?
I'll allow it.
Okay, I'll add one more. One success.
Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it.
Please.
Yeah,
Please.
I know. I will re-roll it. It's too
Okay. Nope. The door slides shut for a moment. You can hear the strained voices on the other side before, again, another long silence. It almost sounds as if there was a whispered argument on the other side of the door. Fennec, I am going to let you carry your 8 successes with a crit. You catch the faintest word. Something about worried about the eldest. Before the conversation stops, there's another long silence. and you hear the lock disengage on the front door, and it glides open just a crack. Another face appears briefly. Come in. Make it quick.
Colin just
scurry
goes
in.
straight in. They said,
course.
make it quick. I'm just going.
Yep. So they will open the door wide enough for each of you to come in. Inside, you find yourself in what would have been a colonial era home. There are several women huddled about in small groups. Most of them roughly in their 20s. None of them look older than 30, with the exception of one. She appears to be an old woman. Her skin paper thin, deep set wrinkles. Sits in a rocking chair. Gathered around her are several clusters of young women. Everybody, go ahead and give me a wits and awareness, por favor.
It's an awareness. I take it my death specialty isn't going to come into play here.
Not on this one.
Okay. What am I at? One.
While you are rolling out, I will continue a little bit of narration. The through line with all of these women is that they look rough, like addicts kicking the habit. Some are shaking. Others are bundled in thick wool blankets that are ratty and ragged at the edges. They look like they have been here for quite some time, since at least the end of the war. Cyrene and Beck, because of your medical backgrounds, these women are all pregnant.
Okay. Cyrene is getting uncomfy.
Ma'ams, do y'all need any kind of medical attention, or have y'all been having any kind of difficulties? I'm a doctor, and no problems. I'm more than willing to assist y'all with anything that might be going on.
Boss,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think you made it very clear that even with my limited success, I can tell they're all addicts, and I know why we're here. And I'm very familiar with addiction, and my character is. And the three of us have just walked into what you said are groups of people, and they all look like addicts. How many of them can I clock are closest to jumping us for what's inside of us?
None of them look like they are making any kind of violent moves. None of them
Okay.
look like they are capable of
Okay.
making any kind of violent moves.
They're that bad off. All right.
Some of them are heavily pregnant. Some of them are curled up, shaking under blankets. This is like walking into a methadone clinic.
Cyrene will also give a very similar explanation to Dr. Becca. My mama taught me how to help with this, and I did medical training and everything. She's also, just as she's addressing everybody, doing the subtle like as the head tilts to address everybody, counting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, however many there are, so we can get an accurate count.
There are, by your count, there is at least 11 women, 10 young women, and the old woman in the rocking chair who looks a hair's breadth away from meeting her maker. One of the slightly healthier looking women steps up. We used to, and she struggles for the words.
Ma'am, if I may, it's fine. No judgment here. I fully understand. I'm just here to help. Now that I see how dire the situation is, I'm willing to stay and help as much as possible.
There used to be more of us, and there used to be 2 eldest. But well, when Strong made off with the last of what we had, everybody started getting real sick. I don't think the eldest has long. I wanted to make sure that the others were taken care of, and she holds out her hands. You can see trigger warning for self-mutilation. You can see deep healing lacerations along her wrists. I tried to feed them, but it won't take anymore.
Okay. And Cyrene is just going to very gently, doing the therapist thing, just kind of take one of her hands, if allowed, and kind of put both of her hands on top and give a squeeze. It's okay. We're from the new management. We came here to see who's here, what help y'all needed, and if you want it, where you want to go from here and everything. But both Dr. Beck and I, feeling healing types, we're not going to just leave y'all here. We're going to work on helping y'all.
If you're not opposed, I have my medical kit with me. I can do a full workup on y'all's matriarch and all of y'all here, just so we have a baseline at the minimum.
The young woman gives a gentle nod and steps to the side. She takes her hand back from you, Cyrene, and one by one goes to each of the other girls, clearing a space. You are able to access the eldest. Why don't you go ahead and give me an intelligence and medicine, please? Dr. Beck.
Cool. Could I lend back an assistance die because of my specialty in palliative care, the 3 dots I have in medicine?
I'll allow it.
Okay. And then while this is happening, Cyrene's just going to kind of go around and gather names from those who are willing to give names.
Even hands.
Colin, you might not be all that aware of ghouls. Your sire had a couple here or there. But you do happen to know where you can get some vitae from.
Aside from all of us, there is
Aside,
Public Works.
there is, in fact, the Public Works. Dr. Beck,
Mhm.
with your 6 successes, the matriarch that in a shaky, raspy voice introduces herself as Abigail. She is in a bad way. This is the closest you've ever seen a person to death. She is deteriorating right in front of you. She has what appear to be several C-section scars. These, given your particular expertise, these were done by a doctor, not some back alley butcher. A skilled hand. The suturing was impeccable when it was done.
At least she's got that going.
There are, as other women shift to get out of the way, you do notice that those that are not currently pregnant also bear several C-section scars. Again, all the work of an expert hand. Someone who was born with a scalpel in their hand.
Ma'am, if it wouldn't be a bother, who was y'all's former doctor? Did he put y'all in these conditions?
We managed to flee the hospital after the attack. You 3 are likely new. The war. Dr. Connolly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Colin would like to interject, looking at the state of everyone.
Mhm.
I have 2 questions, ma'am. Do you speak for everyone here?
I do.
Would
I've kept
everyone-
them as safe as I could.
Will it make things better or worse to arrange for a supply right this second? What is your call?
Abigail will look to the young woman that had greeted you at the door. There is a silent exchange between the two. Trust does not come easy these nights, good sir. But if you can, we will take what assistance you offer.
GM, as GM, not as a character. Rules-wise, in this table, how does blood bonding work? If it doesn't come directly from the vein at this table, does that mean blood bonding happens?
So, blood bonding takes a bit of doing. You need to drink directly from the vein, and it needs to be 3 consecutive drinks within a month's time.
Okay. So,
If you were to draw off a rouse worth of blood into a cup and let it cool, you would not have to worry about the bond.
I can get you something right this second, ma'am, if you do something for me in exchange, which is so long as I commit no violent acts here, do you make a agreement to me, a contract, if you will. No harm will befall me in this area.
Oh, we're aware of your rules of hospitality, domain. We would grant you hospitality, and you would be under my protection. None of the girls in this house would harm you, so long as you do not harm them.
I don't have anything to bleed into. The contract's made, I agree. Do you have anything I can use?
She raises a near mummified hand. Joints audibly crack and creak as she points over to the long, cold mantle. Sitting atop it is a silver cup.
Does this strike me as a Tremere thing, or is this just somebody was flashy?
This, you know what? Give me an intelligence and occult, please.
Ooh, baby, gonna make that 1 dot work.
And
Income.
an assistance die?
I would like the actual Tremere to
If you were to communicate with Cyrene, she might be able to help you.
Yeah, it sounds like she might have a little bit more occult knowledge than me. Just a
They are, after all, a Tremere.
I'll take
Tremere,
that.
Court Oracle, it's fine.
Hey,
I
we all gotta
really
start
don't do
somewhere.
any spooky woo-woo stuff.
We all gotta start somewhere, and that somewhere for me is 1 dot plus my intelligence plus an assist.
Storyteller.
Yes.
Connolly. Michael. Dr. Michael Connolly.
Holy God! Thank you for the
Give me-
assist.
Give me a wits and intelligence.
Can do.
Colin, this does not appear to be any kind of occult paraphernalia.
Mhm.
This is more of a period accurate piece that someone of wealth would have.
He's gonna file that away.
5 successes.
Nobody can jump him right now, but he's just gonna immediately gun for it. He's gonna go for the bowl. He's gonna say, Cyrene, fuck, he said it already. I believe you mentioned the knife.
I've got a couple on me. And she'll gesture. She'll do it very slowly so everybody can see, but open bag, pull out one of the standard knives she's carried during the war. All while puzzling over the name Connolly, because yeah.
Oh, you remember that name.
I missed some shit last season, apparently.
You remember that name because Michael Connolly, Dr. Michael Connolly, was Burke's Seneschal.
Yeah. I also remember how he met his untimely end.
Out of character, I was gonna end up asking that. Awesome. It's done. Einar,
TLDR, he was diablerized.
sounds like he deserved it, Chief.
So, who are you handing this cup of vitae to, Mr. Fry?
Can she hold it physically? If she can, the eldest. If not, the first person she directs it to.
She attempts to put up a fuss, but clearly is in no state to deny. One of the young women carefully takes the cup from you and helps Abigail drink it, as she is clearly in no real state to hold it herself.
Yeah.
As she consumes the contents of the cup, you do begin to see, ever so slightly, a bit of color return to her cheeks. The skin fills out just a bit. There seems to be a modicum of vigor that returns to this withered old husk. As she clears her throat and wipes her mouth, she hands the cup back to you. Thank you, sir.
Not a sir, but thank you, ma'am. If you're willing to make a second agreement, if you are willing to provide as a contract any information that these two medical professionals, I am not one, ask, please give it fairly and never lie to your doctors. These two doctors specifically. With that, I can give you a second one immediately. After that, I have to make a phone call.
So I do, Colin, need you to make a rouse check
Let's go.
for the first cup.
Depending on how this goes, Cyrene would give him a look that says, I can also provide another.
Now, we are going to pivot over to Das's role real quick. If you're going to provide it, anyone who is going to provide a cup of vitae needs to make a rouse check for each cup that you provide. Dr. Beck,
Yes.
as you are looking over these women, the pregnancies are healthy.
Good. That was
While
gonna be his first concern.
while these women are in dire shape, those that are pregnant, it does appear that these will be viable, healthy pregnancies. If they are given proper medical attention, there is no reason why these women can't easily give birth to healthy, happy, adjacent children.
Okay, so knowing that that the pregnancies themselves are, for the most part, healthy, viable, he is going to then focus on specifically the mothers and everyone else and make sure that they seem to be in mostly good condition considering their circumstances. Make sure nobody's malnourished or anything like that in any kind of way.
They all appear to be malnourished, but most of the women, they do have prenatal vitamins, though their supplies are dwindling. It is becoming more evident that they have food-ish. It's probably not the best, but withdrawal is likely their worst symptoms.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. He's going to make sure that they have enough blankets, make sure they have some hot water bottles and whatnot. Also assist in providing some vitae either by using a clean syringe or a clean scalpel, a sterile, to provide those for them into the cup. And then also he's going to give a call to his nurse, Marissa, to bring him some supplies.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a rouse check
Yep.
for the vitae that you're going to draw off. Cyrene, did you also wish to help feed who you can?
Yes, I just had a question because Serena's blood potency 2, that would still only feed 1 ghoul, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But yeah, she is gonna, being Tremere, she has various ritual implements on her, so she has something that can hold a rouse horse of blood that she will fill in. And while she's doing this, she's going to be talking to Abigail, letting her know we're from new management. We would like to discuss, we'd like to talk to you and kind of discuss things further, exchange information, see how we can help.
Tell me, what is the name of your prince?
So I passed my rouse check, so Serena's still at hunger 1.
Ye.
So she's gonna set, kind of give it whoever Abigail directs to, like kind of the next worst off with medical judgment. Well, current prince is John James Sexton the fourth, correct if I'm remembering? The 4th.
There is almost a visceral response from Abigail. Not necessarily negative, but she certainly recognizes that name.
Yeah. He came back. A bunch of us heard what Bark was doing. He rounded us up, and we're here to help. She did a lot that needs to be fixed, including what, well, I don't rightly know how the Seneschal factors into this, but I can start guessing. Well, the former Seneschal.
She lifts a bony finger and kind of beckons that you lean down a little closer, indicating that what she has to say next, she wishes only for your ears.
She'll honor it and lean enough and kind of have Arwen do the, since she's taught him service dog, like the body block to at least kind of, should anybody try and come closer.
One should not be too careful when trusting a sword. And she leans back in her seat. If the boy is true to his word, then we have an accord. But you should know that 5 of our group have chosen to go their own way. A young girl named Strong was their leader. She had taken what stores of vitae we could abscond with from the hospital. She's not a bad sort, just misguided. I would very much like it if she were found and brought home to us.
Cyrene will smile and nod. Family's important.
Family is everything.
Colin winces and has been definitely processing this is not his moment, but that's one thing that is a tell of his. When family gets mentioned, he looks away.
Cyrene will nod and kind of look around. She's going to do another, since she didn't get hungrier, she'll feed somebody else. And kind of as she's doing that, did they say which way they were going maybe, or any indication of who they've been talking to?
Something about a group. The O?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sarah, yeah. So, dice bot. She doesn't get hungry, so she's still at hunger one. Freaking martyr.
She's earning that page in the book
She
night
is
by night.
right. She kind of will sit there and think. Does the O sound familiar to Cyrene at all, having been in Philadelphia a little longer than the other two?
You spent time in Chicago, right?
That was where she spent a good chunk of her fledgling and early neonate years, yeah.
You have heard tell of a group of independent ghouls who have turned, well, shall we say, a bit militant.
The pieces,
The O.
yeah, the pieces with everything that's been happening, the pieces, INR, the pieces.
Out of character, I find it cool that you guys are involving that.
But
You'd be surprised what we pull from canon.
I think I would be. It's making me happy.
Yeah. Cyrene will kind of nod and think, okay. That's well, I guess they make their way, if it's what I'm thinking of. Okay. We'll put out some feelers. Try and see if we can't find Strong and the other 5 girls, and work on letting them know that there's and Cyrene kind of thinks, because she's Tremere, she knows how these things work, especially watching Abigail get better. The city is working on becoming something better, and we'd like to see him part of it.
Hey, Cyrene.
No.
Heads or tails?
Well, Siri answered for us.
Considering you have one of them as your ghoul,
Yeah.
last piece slides into place. Burke was trying to create her own Ducheskis.
Yeah. Cyrene's not going to say anything until they're in the car with everybody, for reasons.
She's got a lot to say.
There's a lot to say, and now is not the time or place to say it, as much as the brain cells are exploding. But she kind of looks around and pulls out, a notebook and starts writing things down of, supplies they need, and looks at one of the other girls. And, kind of starts asking them, hey, what else can we, she's got the basic medical stuff, but are there any comfort items y'all need or anything like that?
I would like to throw in here because I think I got a good helpful dice bowl for this. If
Okay.
both Cyrene and I are cool with this. Colin wants to use his ability with politics and resolves to start doing investigatory things, which is legwork. He would start going around working with the doctor to figure out what supplies are needed, going through his business cards that he got and has been collecting in his wallet over Rolodex, and figuring out what public works can be used to aid as fast as possible in the most efficient manner possible. I would like to throw my
Yeah.
resolve in politics as I take time going around from person to person and doing the handshake, knock on doors of figuring out individual needs.
Hi, vote for
I'm-
me. Let me kiss your baby.
I'm going to say either resolve and politics or charisma and politics, whichever
I know
pool is higher.
which one I'm better at. Thank you. My poor, very traumatized undead boy.
If you have any dots in etiquette, you may add it. You may also add an audacity die.
I like that mechanic. Along with this, Colin's a little bit peeved because there's some things that are mentioning in terms of cruelty that are reminding him of a certain somebody that is related by blood to him, of family. So I'm gonna actually blood surge this one. First off, I'm going to throw down that meat shake. I'm gonna cash it in for my
Okay.
earlier hunger roll. It's gone. I go back to hunger 1. Now we're gonna see with this rouse if I go to hunger 2 again. Because holy hell, what did I miss last season? So 4. So we're going back to hunger 2. We're gonna throw etiquette dice, audacity dice.
Yep. So you get an extra die for the audacity.
Now we're gonna throw resolve 4, and then we're gonna throw politics 3. Blood surge of 2.
I'd
Thank you,
also
Cyrene,
ask-
for also helping.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if Cyrene hands him the notebook, can that be considered an assistance die?
Oh yeah, well,
I think he's got enough die.
That's fair. I
like
tried.
throwing bones, but that thank you, I appreciate it. I will remove the assist one. So 2, 6, 7, 8, 11. No, you've managed to irritate the boy. Let's see.
I mean, technically, Dr. Beck is assisting him right now.
Einar sigh.
While I applaud your efforts, let's see what he can get done with his roll. He should have a rather sizable dice pool for Elmo.
Oh no.
Oh, buddy.
That's
So,
unfixable.
I could
It's
fix
not unfixable. He could burn a will, but he could also let it ride and see what he gets.
Do you have something entertaining?
Don't I always?
I mean, the dice have spoken, but it's up to you.
I don't want to trust.
Ultimately, the choice is yours. You can re-roll those 3 10s. Or you can rock out with the 10 successes on a messy crit. There is always the chance of getting less. There is also the chance of getting less and still having the messy crit.
Yeah.
So it all depends on just how lucky you feel this evening.
Colin is a good person in recovery. Is a bad person attempting to be better. He's dealing with anger, and he just had the family thing mentioned. I'm going to let it ride. I think it's appropriate, unfortunately. Now I'm going to trust and see what happens. I have declared I am letting it ride.
For this, your beast riles. How dare someone treat these women so poorly? How dare someone treat people this poorly? You're not so far gone, so far removed from your humanity that this does not anger you, but it also angers your beast. The waste. The cruelty for cruelty's sake. You are going to go up by 1 hunger.
Oh, hey, kids. Cyrene and Dr. Becca Barker, you're about to see a thing. Oh,
Okay.
oh no. Okay. Yes,
Um, I don't believe that starts at hunger 3.
I got bad news for you, Chief. It
Oh,
does.
that's right.
It do go down.
It do go down. Okay. Well,
There is a look. Colin was going to ask about this doctor, Dr. Connolly. It was the only part of the name he caught aloud.
oh,
Colin
you're going to get the information because you're not going to start that
him in his
until
head.
you're done making your rounds.
This is him in his head right now. He's he's going to get it from these women. Oh wow. Okay, I can work with this. He goes
Yeah.
across 11 women, spending I suppose least amount of time with the person who's the worst off, and leaving the doctors as best as possible with them. He collects a list of atrocities. He gets the medical information. He gets malnutrition. He knows that there are people that this was not their choice, and he's used up his meat shake that he has because he is a very prepared individual. He hears about abuse of people. He thinks about how he used to be very much a hired gun of an investigator, how he would cover up stuff like this. And he thinks about his happy little summer camp where he didn't get to choose what happened with his life, where he didn't get to choose his future, where he couldn't leave, and where his body and his training was not his choice. And whether he was good at something or not was not his choice. And he is surrounded by these people. And something inside him, the mix of the past prince's name, of hearing everything, of the sire, which is all he has of his abuser, and that happy little nod of self-loathing of knowing just how much of a awful human being he was, and still could be. Something snaps, and the very first thing people perceive is the smell of rot. Trigger warning! We're about to talk about body horror. We're going to talk about corpse. We're about to talk about, yeah.
Your boy's about to get goopy.
The very first thing that hits everyone in a colonial home, which is known for rather tight spaces, is the smell of rot. There is a scent like flowers, like bad meat, and it brings to mind maggots writhing in a steak left out in a trash can of summer heat. There is a physical change that overcomes Colin. Hair seems to fade into patches on his skull. His face and his pallor in rapid time seems to go through rapid decomposition. You see skin and muscles seem to lock up, his face pull, and then relax again. A blackening and then a graying in seconds. All this happens within 30 seconds at most. and you see skin pull tight across his body and loosen again. Something flaky, thick, like pudding, is what his skin becomes of. He looks like a corpse that would have died of a person once a life that would have died and sat in a couch for 6 weeks, easy, before being discovered. And if somebody were to pick up this corpse, their fingers would sink straight through the skin and muscle to the bone. And if somebody were to try and pick up this individual by the legs, the arms, those hands would slide right off and bring all of that tissue down. It is rot. It is death. It is 6 weeks of summer heat, and a person become pudding. Eyes fog over, cataracts, hair, patches, lips taut and loose at the same time. His voice will change now, and it will be death from old, malformed, rotting vocal cords. He knows it's coming and rehearsed. Sadly, something that's happened over and over again for 15 years or so. Pulling up a gaiter, pulling over a hat and the hood of his jacket. And he's going to mumble something, and due to his voice, he's unable to say anything. It sounds like excuses to Dr. Beck and Cyrene as he heads for the door, because this is a tight place, and if you have never smelled this before, you don't want to be a normal person, never mind pregnant, never mind going through withdrawal, dealing with this. And he's heading for the door, Einar. The smell is revolting.
And it fills every crack and crevice of this building in almost an instant. Dr. Beck, 1 second, because I do need to address this.
I'm so sorry.
Beyond the smell, because that kind of hits you secondarily, because you are lost in something else. The sudden realization hits you. All of this, these women were an experiment. They were less ghouls and more macabre test subjects. Most of these women have clearly had multiple pregnancies, multiple cesareans. These were brood mares. It is the stuff of nightmare. And then the smell curls into your nose. And for a brief moment, you are taken back to a place you don't want to go, to a time you don't want to remember. But your mind does not linger there. For after all, you pledged an oath. You help. You heal. That is what you do. And it is that thin trace of a thought that keeps you tethered to your present, to your reality, to your sanity. This is still a problem, though. This is not so much a mess that needs to be cleaned, but a wrong that needs to be righted, and it needs to be righted now. You are shaken by the collective gasps and sounds of horror from the women around you as you are now suddenly jolted back into the now by the sound of uneven, heavy footsteps as Colin races out the door, the smell of rot clinging to him. It has seeped into every crack and crevice. It crawls into your nostrils. It pastes itself across your tongue. What would you like to do in this moment?
Oh, good question. In the seconds that he has, would he, considering what he does for a living and what he's capable of, would he be able to come up with a quick solution using his capabilities to mitigate the problem of the rot, at least temporarily?
This is a open all the doors and windows and let the place air out kind of stench.
Yeah, but I meant
There is-
for the person that is currently rotting.
Oh, that, I mean, food. Boy needs to feed.
Mm.
He's got that good old starving decay. But I am going to need you to roll me a remaining willpower and 1/3 of your humanity, please.
Yes.
While you're doing that, Cyrene, you had something for me?
Sorry, I don't understand.
God damn it, Siri.
I'm going to ask you.
Cyrene, seeing what happened, is going to pull out incense and light it, and then look at Beck. With everything that's been happening lately in the papers, I'm gonna sit with him till he gets something, and then we're gonna come back in, and because we should be together, and at least Beck is inside. So she's gonna have Arwen do a plots and kind of stay in protective mode with everybody, and then kind of go outside with call maybe, I don't know. I may have to do something else.
You may very well have to do something else. Now, Beck, you can burn a single willpower to stave it off for a short period of time. However, you will be entering Rage Frenzy.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be a rage instead of fear this time. Yeah, he's going to temporarily stave it off.
Where would you like to go? What would you like to do?
He is going to head back to the SUV and tell the ladies that he apologizes, that he must excuse himself, and he will be sending his nurse along with necessary supplies as he storms out.
Okay. Before you get to the door, Mix LeClaire. Dear sweet Mix LeClaire, can you please give for me a wits and insight? Yes, your specialties apply.
Yee, thank you. Sorry, had to do math. because lore sheet stuff. Where's my hunger? There we go. Well, hi, sweet girl. 5 successes. No crits.
Okay. You know that the good doctor, is at the doorstep of a rage frenzy. You have seen these before. You have seen these in quite a few different kindred. And even the most willful among you, you know he's not making it to the SUV before that frenzy hits.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't say she would have prepared an elixir that she could just yeet into his mouth. Cool.
Alas, we did not prepare a get out of jail free card.
I know, because I've been trying not to do 30 plus rouses with those. Okay, so
Eye on you.
yeah. Hi, Muppet, who keeps opening my door. Okay, so remind me for the true faith aura, because Cyrene's is comfort. Would that be enough to stop, or at least get back somewhere safely?
You would have to shepherd them.
I would have to, and that would mean leaving them alone. Okay, so in other words, unless I made Beck,
And even then, you would have to.
yeah,
You would have to roll fairly high because they only got 2 successes
to okay,
on their frenzy check.
okay, and I think I only have a pool with my true faith of 5 at this time, so I can't really.
I mean, you can.
I
but-
can try.
Yeah, you
Okay.
absolutely can try.
All right. Remind me, it's composure plus resolve plus true faith.
It is composure, resolve, and your dots in true faith.
Okay, so that gives me 6 dice at least. Hunger does come into play, correct?
Yes, on this one it does.
Cool beans, cool beans. And we can't blood surge on this mechanic.
We cannot
just
blood
making
surge
sure.
on this one. That is
Okay.
kind of antithetical to what you're trying to do.
I figured, but I just wanted to make sure.
I appreciate the clarification.
I'm gonna spend a willpower because I don't think 2 successes is gonna do it. Eh, 3.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
How do you choose to wrangle Dr. Beck?
I think what Cyrene is going to do, because she was starting the process of wanting to set up a role to like do a soft interrogation to get more information. So she's near one of the women, and she's going to get up and they're going to walk towards Beck, who's at the door, and just very gently kind of grab the back of their tweed coat, and lean up and let the aura kind of wash over Beck, that comforting aura, that feeling of a warm hug and everything, and whisper the Hippocratic oath in their ear, reminding them that there are patients here that need him right now, and that we can fall apart later, but we have patients that need us.
Dr. Beck,
Yes.
you feel a tug at the back of your jacket. The beast almost wins out. The beast almost conceals this tiniest little tug against your jacket. But then you feel this strange sensation wash over you. Something you have not felt since you drew breath. You remember, like a favorite sweater, like a good cup of tea, like a comfort meal when you were a child, like the embrace of your mother. It is a calm that suffuses your being, that pushes the beast away and wraps its arms around you. You hear the oh so familiar words of the Hippocratic Oath in your ear as your mind begins to clear. A calm sense of purpose begins to settle itself deep in the cavity where your soul had once resided. For a brief moment, that gaping, gnashing maw that is the beast closes. Your vision clears. Your mind settles back on its task. You have work to do. You have people to help. You have lives to save. And now is not the time to fall apart. Now is not the time to give in to rage, to allow the beast to win. You steel yourself. And what do you do from here?
He'll reach back, put his hand on Cyrene's, bow his head and say thank you. Turn around. All right, ladies, back to work, I suppose.
Now, Dr. Beck, I am going to let you know that you are not free
Yes.
from the rage frenzy. It has been abated for a time,
Yes.
but you will have the opportunity to get someplace safe before you truly allow the beast to take hold. But for now, it is almost as if Mix LeClaire is standing guard, a bulwark between you and the raging beast within. You have never felt a sensation like this before, and it is almost off-putting. But as you go around the room, you collect various medical histories from each of the women. You learn that some are on their third, others 10th pregnancies. Some have, unfortunately, not had the luxury of making it to term. Others were tore from them by the cruel hands of the once head physician of the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, one Dr. Michael Connolly. There is a layer of distrust for someone who bears the title of doctor. After all, they suffered so greatly at the hands of one of your own. But with caution and no small amount of trepidation, they seem to want to trust you. They seem to want to let you try. but they are still guarded. You would find out that what these women need most is vitae, and quite a lot of it. It is likely the only thing that will stave off the withdrawal symptoms so that you can better address the other, more mundane symptoms. Now, we are going to transition outside. Mr. Fry, my goopy friend.
Hello, Einar. How are you today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Far better than you, I suppose.
Feeling it. Physically and mentally.
As you begin stalking back towards the SUV, I would like for you to roll me a wits and awareness, please.
This is not a physical test, I believe, for using physical attributes, but do note that I am at a penalty for physical attributes due to starving decay, which is going to be real fun whenever strength comes up.
Yep, nope, this is just what do you see, what is around you.
It's awareness, baby.
You don't seem to notice anything out of the ordinary.
He's got other stuff on his mind.
As you move towards the SUV, however, you do feel something. You feel something slam into your back. And you will go up another point of hunger. Yes.
Something has slammed into Colin's back. Has he taken any damage?
You have taken no damage.
Colin can feel himself go up hunger.
Yes, you can feel yourself getting hungrier.
Kate, the first word out of his mouth is Kate. And the second thing he does is draw and turn. 180 degrees. Take a knee.
You draw, you turn, you take a knee. In just enough time to see a muzzle tip across the crest of one of the buildings behind you, as though someone is 75, 80 feet.
Oh, feet. This isn't gonna. That would not be a resolve shot. That would be a composure shot. He's just been shot in the back with something. Nearest cover and concealment. No, let's fuck concealment. Nearest cover.
Nearest cover is going to be the SUV.
Distance.
25 feet.
Run.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and get behind the tires of the engine block, depending on whichever one's closest.
You begin sprinting towards the SUV. As you do, Miss Wayne pops out from the driver's seat.
Down, down, down.
Runs towards the back of the SUV, pops open the tailgate, and with sure, steady hands, like she's done this a million times before, grabs a blanket with one hand and wraps her hand around the item in your back and yanks it free. She wraps you in the blanket and bundles you into the back before slamming the tailgate back down. She gets back behind the driver's seat and begins reversing back towards the alley. Cyrene, Dr. Beck, it is about this time that you hear the frantic honking of a car horn from outside.
Shit. Cyrene knows what that means. Very quickly leaves her card on the table. We need to go. It sounds like there's trouble. We are going to work on getting you more of what you need, though. That number is how you get a hold of me. And then she'll write Cass's number as well. This is my assistant. If I'm asleep, she can help get you what you need.
The Abigail nods and begins telling the women around her to start ushering everyone down into the basement. They begin moving slowly, but with a purpose. What do the two of you do?
Dr. Beck's also going to hand over his card and say that his nurse will be by soon. And then stealthily, he's going to exit stage right.
Cyrene is going to look for anything to kind of cover their sides as they go out.
There's not going to be too terribly much.
Okay.
But there are, as some of the women are moving into the basement, there is one of the thick woolen blankets that is discarded.
Okay. They will toss it on to Beck. Wrap this around yourself. If it's what I think it is, they're probably going to try and take your blood.
All right. Cover himself and stealthily
And then-
/ quickly. Exit
Yeah.
stage.
And then, we'll tell Arwen in German, run, and have him activate rapid reflexes so he can go quickly and get in the car and bring up the rear.
As you begin sprinting down the alleyway, you see the SUV has parked against the alleyway so that it is effectively blocking a free run out the end of the alleyway. The rear passenger side door springs open, giving you full access to the back of the SUV. I would like for you both to please make for me a Dex in Athletics, if you do not mind.
Sir. You are aware how many dots that is for me, correct?
I am aware. Yes,
That is the one.
I'm looking at your sheet right now.
I am
Would I have
also
time to
terrible
blood
at
search?
this, so
You do not have time to blood search.
Valid. I just had to ask because panic mode.
So
Hey, I made it with a 1.
the good news is neither of you fail. Neither of you bestial fail. However, mounting up in the SUV is a little clumsy, a little clunky. You could have executed that a little bit better. It's a lot like watching the Three Stooges try to walk through a doorway together. But you manage to get in the SUV as the vehicle peels off into the night. It seems like Miss Wayne is driving forever. Far longer than it took you to get here. Like she is zigzagging the length and breadth of the city. You do also seem to hear her muttering, perhaps into a radio or maybe something else as she's driving. It's kind of hard to tell because y'all didn't exactly have time to get your seatbelts on, and she is not driving carefully. After what seems like an eternity of this rough ride, you find yourselves not back at Elysium, but in a different parking garage in the city. The SUV descends. You would recognize the area of the city that you're in. You are entering the parking garage beneath City Hall. As the vehicle descends deeper, it rolls through what seems to be a maintenance tunnel that then leads to an open area. Miss Wayne parks the vehicle and tells you that she can get you back to your individual havens from here, but that they'll have to retrieve your vehicles at a later date. Each of you would be very carefully led through a maze of tunnels, which, Colin, leads you just outside of your personal haven after a time. Inside your haven, you will find a meal waiting for you. Enough to slake your hunger back down to 1. It is curious, though. At one point, all 3 of you separate, but all 3 of you are also being led by Miss Wayne.
Man, those NOS tunnels are weird.
That or I'm thinking it's not Miss Wayne and it's cloaked as something, but I don't have enough occult to know that.
Dr.
Colin,
Beck legitimately does not care.
with your meal is a note. It is neat, swirling handwriting, clearly feminine, that says, "See you at work tomorrow," and it is signed with a butterfly.
Aw, it's really cute.
Cyrene, you are led back to the Coterie Haven.
Yeah.
You are also given a bottle of Alicia's special brew.
Thanks, Miss Wayne.
She gives you a wink and a smile. Dr. Beck, you are led back to the prison. And you are likewise given what looks to be a flip-top bottle filled with viscous red liquid.
I appreciate it, ma'am. I need to go and lock myself up for a little bit.
Courtesy of the city, and keep that on hand for when you're done. Thank you, Dr. Beck. You did good tonight. Mix LeClaire, you would also be given the appropriate attaboys. Mr. Fry as well. You all three will be told that the Seneschal will be in contact with the payment for your mission, along with a personal congratulations from the Prince for a job well done. It is at this point we are going to close out this very special session of Philly by Night. Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you to our audience for watching along. Before we leave, I would like to introduce our merry band this evening, starting with Dr. Beck. Dr. Beck, who are you and where can we find you?
Hi, I am Doss. I play Dr. Beck, and you can find me on TikTok or anywhere as Doss Brunner or Doss Brunner 13. So,
Mix LeClaire, who are you and where can we find you?
Hello, I'm Fennec Lee Wilder. You saw me play Cyrene LeClaire tonight. You can find me at the Fennec Wolf at just about anything. I do a lot of stuff here on the channel and behind the scenes stuff. So yeah.
Mr. Fry, who are you and where can we find you?
Colin Fry is played by Book. You may find me on Discord at Grim Grimoire. And Haunting Up and Rotting Up, Philly by Night.
The Invisible, who are you and where can we find you?
Hi, I am G'day FX, and I am the writer for the session tonight. You can find me on TikTok, Discord, or Instagram at G'day FX. And everybody thank Einar for being my voice today.
Thank you, Einar.
Yay!
I'm happy
Thank
for
you,
both
Einar.
of you. Thank you very much.
And as always, I am Einar. You can find me at Einar_TTRPG on the Clock app or anywhere else that I want you to find me. If you can't find me there, I don't want you to. I am one of the storytellers and founder of Philly by Night. And with that, gang, have a great night. And remember, just because we play monsters doesn't mean we can't be the light in somebody else's world. Have a great night.
Bye!
Be good.
Bye.